was the first time I made like six figures in a month. And
Hey everyone, welcome to the Founders First Step, episode number 4. This is a very special episode because we have our first guest over here, Benji. Bruce, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're very excited. First guest, and definitely well-deserving first guest. Just so the people know who you are, give us like a background of who you are, what you do, and stuff like that.
All right, I'll just do it real quick. So basically, background: I started marketing. Well, I learned marketing by first being a magician. So when I was 10, I was doing magic. 13, I was like making money from it. That's when I learned all the business stuff, and then I turned it to an online business after college, and then from there, turned that like it led into services, more of an agency, and that's what I'm doing now.
Sweet. So, if there's anybody in the world that knows marketing and social media, it's you. And that's kind of what we want to get into in this episode is how to utilize social media to get the maximum benefits out of it. And I just want to ask you right away, right off the jump, how has social media, changed your life, and how important has it been for you?
Well, I mean, social media is one of those things where, I mean, when it works, it works. And so, I mean, it definitely worked for me. In fact, if you actually type in Benji Bruce Forbes, you'll see like a thing where it says like top Snapchat creators. I'm like on that. And yeah, and so that was like when it was like really coming out. And so I was producing a ton of content. So that did really well. But I always tell people, I'm like, even though social media is up there, it's one of those where you still got to be careful because if your following is bigger than your bank account, then you're building your business wrong. So it's like social media is important. Just remember the money is more important.
100%.
The purpose behind doing this. But I want to get from you, how did you start your journey through social media?
Uh, what happened was so I was initially I grew up when Facebook and all that was just starting. So it's like Facebook was just in college. I'm in college, and then so I'm thinking, okay, as a magician, I'm like, how do I get more gigs? I'm like, I need more gigs. So initially I was cold calling. Then I realized cold email is better, and then I realized I can do some more social media. But social media only came into the picture when I started an online business because the cold calling or the cold emailing, that's what was getting me gigs. I didn't need to do social media at the time. And then when I started doing online stuff, I was like, okay, let me create more content. The online was public speaking. I was showing people public speaking stuff. So I was producing content every day. Just I was doing the Facebook lives every day. I mean, I was producing a ton of YouTube videos and everything. And and so from there, I just learned everything that I needed to learn when it came to social media, and that was more of trial and error, really, combined with exaggerating everything. And when I say exaggerating, I mean when you're doing social media, it's kind of like being an actor in a way. So you can't just be normal. So when you're talking to people just out and about, you're calm and everything. But when you're online, it's like you have to exaggerate to keep people's attention. And that's kind of what I was focusing on. That's what helped me with social media in general. And yeah, and I mean that was kind of my whole thing that I was doing, and I was making sure I was selling at the time.
That's great. But what I wanted to talk about is a lot of people try to elevate their business using social media, and they're all facing the same issue of how to express to themselves more, how to grow more audience. I know there's some tricks and the algorithm. I want to know, how do you think they should focus on bringing more audience to their business and work on the good algorithm to catch their videos, make them viral?
Well, I think most people shouldn't focus on growing their audience. They should focus on the money part. Because if you're in B2B, you're not competing with Mr. Beast. So a lot of people, they're looking at Mr. Beast, millions of views on a video. And then they post their video on real estate or whatever. They get 100 views. And like, damn, he's getting a million, I'm getting 100. That sucks. And so, but B2B is different. B2B is more of, for every one Mr. Beast, there's 10 guys you've never heard of. There's 10 Dougs out there who make way more than Mr. Beast. And this guy Doug, the reason he he came to my mind is because he's this billionaire dude that I met. He doesn't have social media, none of that stuff. He makes way more than Mr. Beast, but you don't see him. And so to build the audience, it's like, yeah, you're creating consistent content, but you have to think, do I need to build the audience to begin with? That should be your first decision. If you do need to build the audience, then there are rules, but the only real rules is more like the headline and the thumbnail. Those are like the only real rules. Everything else is just, it depends. And not too long ago, I created a brand. It was like a secret brand that I made, and then it just blew up on social media. I didn't I didn't pay attention to any of the rules. How everyone says be consistent, respond to everyone's comments, all this stuff. I didn't pay attention to any of it. One, I wasn't consistent. Two, I didn't respond to anybody's comments, likes. I don't care what they said. The whole brand was built around me not responding, so I didn't respond to anybody's stuff, and it blew up. And so within like 60 days, it was like 200,000 followers, and
Wow.
and it was just because it was a very interesting concept of what I did, and um, and that was it. So it was just a matter of when people are telling you here's what you need to do. It's like SEO where it can change at any moment, even if they're right. And they say, let's say the rule was upload 5 videos every day, and let's say that was right. You upload 5 videos every day, boom, you're gonna scale or you're gonna grow. Tomorrow, Instagram can change it, TikTok can change it, and boom, now it's done. It's like SEO. So that's how I think of everything. It's more the intangibles that's going to help you build the audience. It's more of like the consistency, the obsession that you have, that sort of thing. Like when I say obsession, I mean Mr. Beast level obsession. When I saw a video, he was getting interviewed by Mark Zuckerberg, and he was talking about how he gamed Mark Zuckerberg's algorithm for Facebook. What he did is he realized if he didn't speak within like the first 2 seconds, then his videos would get spread out more to the world.
Wow.
Because when he talked, Facebook knew he was speaking in English, so it would only show it to the U.S., the U.S., UK people who speak English. But when he didn't talk, it would show it to China, it would show it to everybody. So he's like, oh, I'm just not going to talk in the first 2 seconds, and boom, and that happened. And Zuckerberg, he didn't even know that. Zuckerberg was like, oh, really? And so, but Zuckerberg could change that at any second. So when you're like building an audience, it's more the obsession that matters rather than the rule of not speaking in 2 seconds. And that's how I think about audience building in general.
Right.
It's kind of a long answer.
But no, I see exactly what you're trying to say, and what you're also trying to add to that is, worry about your business first, and then see if the audience can help you grow. But don't try to go into social media thinking this is gonna be the business that's gonna make you
Yeah.
into who you want to become.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like you really got to focus on the money. Like I try
Right.
to tell people, focus on the money.
Yeah. But it's definitely a tool to help you get there faster. As long as you have your service or you have whatever product you have, and then using social media to increase the audience, increase the viewers that come to that brand. But make sure your product and your service is first good enough, and then see if you can make that transition into social media as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like, I mean, social media can be a tool or a distraction. It
Yeah.
really depends. It's
Just how you use it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I was doing the online stuff, and it was like just online for the public speaking, and that was the first time I made like 6 figures in a month. And
Wow.
when I did that, that was my social media. I don't know. I think the audience on YouTube was less than 5,000. I had an email list of about 5,000 people. I don't know, the Instagram was like non-existent. Still, it's like a small audience, but I made a lot of money because I was like, I'm focusing on the sales. And the videos I uploaded, the way I was thinking, it wasn't, let's say I'm teaching speakers how to get on stages. It
Right.
wasn't, let me focus on how to get more views. It was, here's a speaker who needs to get on stage. What does he need to know? And then I just taught that thing. I was like, here's how I use a CRM. Here's how I do cold emails. Here's how I do lead scoring with this. I just taught that to the audience, and then they would watch it and they'd say, damn, this guy knows his shiznit. And then they'd buy the stuff. Whereas if I thought in reverse, if I thought, how do I get 100,000 views on this video? Then I'd say, okay, well, let me look up these videos, 12 public speaking tips. Okay, that gets #1. Let me make a video like that. And that's what I would have done, but it wouldn't have driven any sales to the product.
Right.
And so that's why I'm like, oh, you got to be careful of views versus money.
Absolutely.
so, but yeah, audience building. I mean, like, it, it definitely works when it works. It's just I think of it as people say like I want to be a celebrity, and it's like, yeah, you can be a celebrity, but there's so many other people out there who are better off than celebrities, and you don't even know who they are. They're just moving through, and
Right.
like they have the same benefits of a celebrity. They make more than a celebrity, and you just don't know who they are. And I'm like, I'd rather be that person than a celebrity.
100%. 100%. And would you say social media is made for everybody? Or do you have to be like a certain person to fit in? Or can you become that certain person?
Yeah, I think anyone can become that person.
Okay.
Um, it's one of those where it's like you just kind of figure out who you want to be on social media,
Right.
and then you can become that person. But yeah, it's like even someone who says I don't like being on camera, that sort of thing. You can learn to be on camera. It's like if you had to, if your family got kidnapped and someone said you either get on camera, or I'm gonna kill them. In your head, you're gonna be like, okay, I'll learn it. I'll get on camera.
Yeah.
I'll
I'll
be
figure it
comfortable on
out.
camera, and that's how you have to think. Like if you have to be on social media, and it truly benefits what you're doing, you might as well do it. And it's like just get rid of all those excuses. Oh, I don't know what to say, and I don't like being on camera. It's like who cares? Just do it. Yeah.
That's what I think. I work with some people that trying to grow their business out, especially in the real estate industry, and most of the rejection I receive from them is, "Oh, I'm not feeling comfortable. I'm shy. I don't want to show myself." And I was like this at the beginning too. Like, "Oh, what I'm gonna say is gonna look awkward. People will laugh at me and this and like one thought I gave to myself, you know what? I don't care. I'm here to feed my business, to feed my family. I'm gonna do what I need to do. Yeah. I need to make this money. I need to grow my business. I'll put myself out. I'll show myself to people on social media, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna care. Judge nowhere to judge. Okay. I'm telling the people that are afraid to show their face. If those people judging you, that's mean they're not have the courage enough to do that. No, right? Ask them right now. Okay, put yourself in the camera. Why are you laughing at me putting myself in the camera? Let me show your courage that you do that. And none of them will do it. None of them. Yep.
And I'd even say you take it a step further because a lot of people ask like, oh, haters, this sort of thing, and like other people thinking about you, all sort of stuff. There's a book called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and in this book, so there's a good guy, bad guy. The good guy, protagonist, he's an architect, and then there's a bad guy, and this bad guy, he's ruining the good guy's reputation, like really ruining it to where he can't get clients, and like really ruining it. And so they end up meeting each other at some like public gathering, and the bad guy walks up to the good guy, and he's like, "Hey, so be honest, like it's just you and I here. Be honest. Tell me, what do you think of me?" And the good guy, he's like, "But I don't think of you." He just walks off. And I
Wow.
was like, "Damn!" Like when I read that, I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I think in terms of people should see other people. It's like when everyone's like, "Oh, well, what do they think about me?" And when people think about me and this sort of stuff, in your head, it should be like, I personally don't think about you thinking of me. Like I don't care, and that's kind of how you should think about it when you're on social media and all that sort of stuff. Like anyone who comments, doesn't matter what they say, good, bad, doesn't matter. In fact, even if they say something bad and you respond to it, it's more of you're responding for other people reading it. So like when we would do ads, I can't remember exactly what the ad was, but a lot of people would think I'm going to remove all the bad comments from ads. So if you're selling, I don't know, a cup of coffee, and then someone's like, "Oh well, coffee's really bad for you," blah blah blah, and this brand is horrible, you would think I'm going to remove that. I don't want people reading that. But you should keep it because one, there's an engagement, so you're going to get like a lower cost to you. But two, it's more of I'm going to reply to this to see so other people can see my response. So we did that where someone, it was like we're selling a public speaking thing, and someone says something like, I don't know, they had all kinds of excuses. Oh, this online thing, public speaking, I don't want to be on camera, blah, blah, blah. Huge response. And then I replied, I was like, I don't think this is for you. And a lot of people like kind of laughed and all that,
Negative.
LOL and all that sort of stuff. And it's one of those where it's like you just ignore other people's um, reactions to you, and you just kind of turn it however you need to turn it, type of thing. But yeah, that book is really good, by the way. The Fountainhead.
That's a really
Uh, Fountainhead.
Yeah, the Fountainhead.
Fountainhead.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
No, I mean for sure. I mean, and you say you do public speaking as well.
yeah.
I want to ask you, do you think public speaking helps when transitioning into social media? Because personally, I was never a good public speaker, and when I first turned on the camera, I wasn't really comfortable, but I kind of got used to it, and I'm also trying to get better at public speaking at the same time, and I feel like it's all going in the same direction.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's basically the same thing. Speaking on camera, speaking in front of an audience. There's like somewhat of a difference, but I mean, it's basically the same skills. So
Right.
public speaking in general just helps.
Yeah.
It's like you just know. You think in terms of not exactly what you're saying, but how you say it, and things like that. You think on like how people feel when you talk. So a lot of people think, "What do I say?" And it's like it doesn't matter. That there's that one quote. I'm trying to remember exactly how it was said, but it's like in the end, people forget what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel,
Right.
and that's how you think when you're creating video content, public speaking on a stage, all that sort of stuff.
So it's like the emotions that you create.
Yeah, and that's how I think of everything. Like how we were talking the other day, and I was mentioning like David Blaine when David Blaine first came up. Before him, there was a lot of other magicians. They'd create videos and be on TV, but it wasn't as big because they would focus on the trick. And it's like, oh, this trick, oh wow, that's cool. Whereas David Blaine focused on the reactions. He focused on the emotions of the people watching it. So when David Blaine did something, you'd see the trick, but then you see the audience, they're like, oh, they flip out,
Yeah.
running all over the place, and everyone's like, oh wow, dang.
Yeah, like what did he do?
Yeah, and it's like, and that's how he blew up. And I was like, that's kind of what you should be doing with your content. That's how you should think about content in general. Is like that emotional reaction that you're trying to get instead of the words that you're trying to create.
100%. I think when making content, a lot of people do this where they take the reaction or take like the most important part and they just stitch it right to the beginning. So when
yeah,
you
yeah.
load up the video, you immediately see the reaction and you're like, and then it cuts to the beginning and you're like, damn, I want to see what just happened. So let me
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
this whole video. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
that hook. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone always talks about your hook has to be spot on.
Mhm.
And that's like, I think one of the most important hooks that you can do today
Yeah.
is taking the reaction, putting it first, and then seeing people will watch the rest of the video.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it called FOMO, right? Fear of missing out kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so this is the generation we live in. We always want to be involved. We always want to be part of, not missing out. Like even with technology, oh, the new iPhone, I want to be part of it. I want to get a new iPhone. So we can use it in emotional way, like show them someone an incident of reaction, and like, oh, I have to watch the video to see the reaction. I don't want to miss it out, kind of thing. To lead like the spotlight you guys talking about. So to bring it to find how you can squeeze it into a social media video, post, whatever, so they will stay in and you bring the emotional to it. 'Cause the reason I do business is other than different than others, the majority is I add the emotional part of it, which is very important. You have to make the person feel that he's been heard or that is a feeling is important and not like, okay, sign here, let's close the deal, and that's it. It was nice to meet you. You bring into the table the emotional part, which is super important. And I totally agree with that one. Yeah. I think super, you have to find a way to put it inside of social media and touch people's heart and remember you as how did you make them feel, as you said. Yeah. Talking to them.
Yeah, and I think like in terms of is it relevant and does it resonate? So that's what I think of when I'm like creating content, when we're doing content for other people. Is like, is it relevant? Does it resonate? And using simple words. Because like right now we're doing like a lot of biotech stuff. And in the science world, they use a lot of complicated words. So it's like you got to dumb it down and you got to make it relevant to people and does it resonate? And so it's like if we're talking about, let's say in the science world, we're talking about ATP and oh, the Krebs cycle. People are looking at it like, what are you talking about? But if we're like, oh, are you fatigued? Like You wake up, oh, you're just really tired all the time. Like that's better, and so it's yeah, stuff like that where changing the words a little bit has a more emotional impact to it.
100%.
There's like a psychology behind all of it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the way you do business, the way you speak. It's all like you have to think of the viewers
yeah,
or the other person across the table. You have to think of their mindset, how they're gonna think.
yeah.
It's very important. In the beginning, you added that if on Forbes, you're on the Snapchat list. Um, I know there's a guy around us that lives here, and he started doing Snapchat videos when he was very young, and he just killed it with that. I mean, his name's Cam Casey. He's on YouTube. You can find him on Instagram as well. But he posted so many Instagram video or Snapchat videos, and he made a ton of money off of that. I
Yeah.
mean, I heard Snapchat is one of the best payers in terms of across all the social media apps. I mean, at one point at least.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
talk
think
about-
Snapchat and YouTube.
Yeah.
I think yeah, but yeah. So that like I was doing, I was showing like actual behind the scenes of the business, and I think that's what did it because it's like you see on there, you'll see guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone were on there, and they're sitting there, they're talking about stuff, but I was like, all right, let me show you my screen, and I'm like showing what's actually going on in my business.
Right.
And like I said, when I did that, that's when the sales really started coming
Right.
in. Like when I was showing, oh, here's the cold emails that we're sending out, and here's the responses. People were like, oh, damn. And so that's kind of what I was doing, whether it was Snapchat, Facebook Live, or whatever. That was the basis of it. But then it got to a point where I didn't need to create as much content because it's like now that we're doing the service instead of teaching the stuff, I was like, well, I don't need to create as much content. And that backed off Snapchat.
Right.
But yeah, Snapchat, yeah, I think that is one of the highest paying ones now, that and YouTube.
Okay.
You know.
I wanna. So what we like to do on our podcast usually is we like to. Most people they sell on podcast and they just talk all the time, but what we like to do is we like to give our audience like an actual step-by-step game plan on what they can start tomorrow and stick with it because we always talk about how you have to be consistent in life. You can't just do something and then give up on it within the next week. But we like to give people like a step-by-step plan. So if someone right now like wants to start social media and has like their businesses or is going to school, what would be like a first step or first round, maybe like a learning curve that they should start, learning on how to get involved in the business?
Well, I would say like, 'cause I always have a hard time giving that type of advice because I think very specific, like in a very specific way. So it's like I'm talking to a realtor. I'm going to say something different to this guy versus a speaker, and I'm going to say something different to this guy versus someone who's trying to build an agency. But if you're just trying to start social media in general first, why do you even need to start social media? That's the
Right.
number one thing. And then I would reverse engineer. So it's like, why do you need to start? If you do need to start it, then it's how are you going to make money from it? So that's going to be the first thing. Even if so, I don't have an audience. It's like, how am I going to make money from this thing? Let's say I'm a realtor. Okay, I'm going to make money selling real estate. Boom, I immediately know. Or let's say I'm just trying to build a YouTube channel on history or something. Okay, I'm going to make money from sponsorship. So in my head, I already know how I'm going to make money from it. So that'd be the first thing I'm going to do. Then it's a matter of reverse engineering that steps in terms of producing the actual content. You produce the content. I would immediately start producing content. I wouldn't just think in terms of let me find out the best particular content to make all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I would just start out producing because you have to get into the habit of creating.
Right.
And it's like most people, they don't even get to that step. So first is like figure out why are you even doing social media? Do you need to do it? If you do, then figure out how you're going to monetize it to begin with. Then start producing the actual content, whether you know what to produce or not. You can go on ChatGPT, be like, hey, I'm trying to build a history channel on YouTube. Give me 5 ideas. Boom, gives you ideas. Just make the damn thing. That's it. And it's like if you're sitting there saying, should I do it with phone? Should I do it with a professional camera? Who cares? Just pull out your damn phone. Just you just got to do it to begin with. So that's essentially what people have to do from the start, and then you got to study storytelling. I'm talking about like actual storytelling in terms of like read books, not YouTube videos. Don't watch YouTube videos. Books have a condensed version of information. So you get more information from a book than you would a YouTube video. And so I would read books on storytelling. And from there, that's when you would just produce the content. And yeah, like I said, in terms of it's hard to give specific advice
Right,
when
right.
it's like just social media in general. But
You know, sorry, there's no like a specific formula that work. Everyone is on industry to faces audience. But what I did notice is when you started the social media, eventually you start finding your niche. You start trying different strategy. Oh, I'm gonna talk about this, or I'm gonna do this kind of video, this kind of photo video, and you see which one you attract more people to you, and basically you build your own strategy, your own formula to make it succeed. Um, what I wanna ask you right now, life is made easier for everyone. Every AI join to this generation. Or I wanted to hear from you, Tip. How can those people that try to grow their business out using this social media as well, um, involving AI together with that?
yeah, so like to grow an audience or just to grow a business?
To grow a business, how they can, I know you have a lot of experience, not only on the social media aspect, you know how to run those businesses. I want to hear from you as for AI as well. What do you think they can use?
Yeah, so the AI, it's more, once again, it depends. So it's kind of like if you're using AI for ideas, we use AI for a lot of ideas in general, but at the same time, it's super limited to an extent. It's like an extension of your brain. So we'll use AI for some ideas, and then from there, we'll basically tell AI to we'll tell AI how would you execute this thing, and then we'll think about how we're going to execute that as well. So it's like a back and forth between us and AI. I don't think AI is at the point where you can just let it do anything. Um, so yeah, it really depends on what you're trying to do with AI. So like when we're writing stuff, we're writing a script, like an ad script, like a video ad script. We'll use AI to come up with a concept. So for example, like we're writing about vitamin D, we're creating an ad for vitamin D, and we say, okay, here's all this stuff about vitamin D, come up with different ideas, and then we think, okay, come up with a funny concept, and then eventually we came across a funny concept of like you want some more D, and it's like you need some more D in your life, so it has like a sexual undertone to it, and so we go from that concept. Now we tell AI like, all right, write out a script, and then we're looking at it. Okay, boom, then we'll do this. So AI has like a huge potential. I mean, it's definitely going to change the game, but it still depends a lot on you in general. The way I see it is like, at first the problem was information. It was like I don't know anything. Like before the internet, it was like, well, you don't know how to do anything. So it's like I have to know you, who's I don't know. You're teaching me woodworking, and then you're gonna teach it to me. But now the internet comes along. I don't need to know you. I just go on the internet and teach me woodworking. But AI now is teaching people. It's more execution. It's like there's information now. AI is helping with execution, and so you want to think of AI as literally an assistant to execute for you, but that assistant still depends on you. And that's kind of where it's at. It's not just, hey, I need this done, go do it. It's not there yet. It's more of like, hey, I need this done, give me some ideas, then we go back and forth. So that's how I really see AI at this point. But yeah.
That's really nice. Um, I want to ask one more thing. So this podcast basically we are focusing. We call it Founders First Step, focusing on people that want to make their first step to build their business. Um, Definitely AI is a great tool to use it. We call it a tool to use it to bring this business to reality. What I want to talk as well is people. put themselves in their comfort zone, locking themselves in this comfort zone, holding them from growth. I want to hear from you, like what help you get out from your comfort zone and spread yourself out, especially to social media, and build your career.
Well, I think in terms of action obliterates anxiety. So
Wow.
when people they're in their comfort zone, it's because they're just not moving fast enough. And when you move fast, you don't have time to think to be in your comfort zone. And so that's how I think. If you look at all super successful people, they move like really fast, and it's like they don't have time to think. Uh, and this is why even Warren Buffett talked about, well, spend time to like think, and like you got to spend time to think. But uh, you want to move fast because then you just don't have time to second guess yourself and all that. And if there was only one thing above decisiveness, it would be like acumen, like judgment, like business acumen. Because you can be decisive, but if you're not doing the right things, it doesn't matter how decisive you are. And so that's kind of how I see it as if you want to obliterate that talk in your head, and let's say you have that talk in your head, um, you have to be super delusional to an extent, uh, and super decisive. And when I say delusional, I mean it's one of those things where it's like a delusional practicality. You're delusional about what you want, but practical in terms of how you get it. And that's how I think of everything. When you just move fast, everything just gets out the way, and that's where the whole obsession comes into play. So the more obsessed you are, it's like you feel destined for this thing. You're like, well, I'm destined to do this, and when you feel destined for something, no amount of self-talk is gonna talk you out of it. Well, when you feel destined for something, you just won't have that self-talk to begin with. But if you want to essentially get out of your own way, you just move faster. And when you move faster, that speed of implementation is just going to obliterate everything in your way.
Yeah, I mean that's some real sauce right there. I mean I don't think we've ever explained something better than you just did right now. But it's kind of the idea of throwing throwing someone in the deep end. Like I think a lot of people we see an idea, we see a plan, we get the motivation, we get started, we start thinking about it, we start researching it, and then as you research, you realize, oh wow, this shit gets deep, and that's where you slowly start to lose the motivation, and that's why kind of just getting into it, getting the work started, it gives you an excuse to keep going
Yeah.
instead of the opposite of giving the excuse to back out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we said, throwing yourself in the deep end, getting in a situation where you're like, okay, I'm in too deep now. I gotta keep going,
Yeah.
and I can't think about it anymore. I don't have time to think. I just gotta, like you said, get straight into it.
And this is why I tell people, I'm like, read more biographies and business books, because biographies, you actually see what actually happens in business. In business books, let's say you read a book about leadership, and it'll say like, well, be nice to people, have a great culture, and all that sort of stuff. Then you read a book with Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs like, get the F out of my face. Like,
Yeah.
what? You don't know what you do. You're fired. And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
And so, but in these books, you'll see like how fast these guys move, and you'll see like little things in terms of, oh, they're super obsessed and all that sort of stuff, and then you just naturally incorporate it into your character, and that's kind of how you start to move when you start reading biographies and all that. But yeah, speed of implementation is a big thing, and that comes from being super decisive, and then the acumen is at the top because you just got to make the right judgment, make the right calls.
Yeah, I mean, they say the most important decisions you have to make in your life are the ones that you have no time to react, no
Yeah.
time to think.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, it reminds me because when I was diagnosed with MS, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna basically learn biochem. Not basically, I'm gonna learn biochem, molecular biology, and I started learning it. And the more I learned, I was like, damn, this thing goes deep. Like this rabbit hole goes deep. But at the time, it was just one step after the other. It's like, oh, okay, I hear this word mitochondria. All right, let me figure out what this is. Okay, I hear about this. And it was just like that. And then I just kept going deeper and deeper. And that's kind of what happens with actions. It's like, well, you know this step to take, just do this, and then you'll learn all the other stuff.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Um, one time we were talking out here, and we were talking about all these guys that do social media and how they each have their own strategy, but in the end, they kind of are all similar. And we were talking about like Jake and Logan Paul, and we were talking about like Andrew Tate and stuff like this. And these people are like all like they hit you with the wow factor in their videos, and they completely stand out. Who are some people that you've seen on social media that people can just kind of not copy, but gain a little bit from their videos and gain a little bit from their personalities?
Yeah, well, that would depend on what they want to do with social media. So it's like they want to be more entertainment based, then you're looking at Mr. Beast, you're looking at Logan Paul, those kinds of guys. If you want to be more business based, then I don't know, it depends on what industry you're in, like the Ryan Serhant guy, Serhant, however you say his name. Um, so yeah, it depends in terms of what your goal is, or yeah, what you're trying to do and what your industry is. So I don't know, like honestly, when it comes to looking at people on social media, I think more in terms of creating instead of consuming. And I don't look at social media as much as I used to. I read way more than when I look at social media because like I said earlier, there's just more information condensed in a book than there is on YouTube, and and that's kind of what I'm looking at. So I'm looking at specific people like Peter Thiel, and I'm looking at people like that, or the Alex Karp guy from Palantir. I'm looking at how they move, and I'm not really looking at social media guys. Social media guys, they just remind me of I don't know, it just reminds me of like a lot of celebrities. Like when you meet these people in person, they're different. Uh, yeah, except for guys like Shaq, super cool. But most of them, it's like they're really different. And yeah, so I'm looking at social media as more like I'm watching a movie, and then that's what I'm looking at. So let's say Logan Paul, Jake Paul. I'm like, all right, they made more in boxing, or I think Jake Paul, he made more in boxing than most boxers. They've been doing it their entire lives. The dude's not even that great, but he's made more in boxing than most boxers. And it's just because he knows how to capture attention. Like he thinks kind of like what Muhammad Ali did, to where he's like, look, it doesn't matter if I'm better than you. I'm gonna talk trash about you. That way people watch it. And like Mayweather did something similar. Mayweather, he's like, look, I understand I'm the villain of the story. Like I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna talk trash, I'm gonna be cocky and everything, and you're gonna basically want me to lose the fight. And it doesn't matter if you want me to win or lose. The fact is, you're still gonna pay for the ticket. And that's how he saw everything. That's how these guys see everything. Logan Paul, all of them. They're like, look, I don't care if you like me or not. The fact is, you're watching me, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how they think, and that's why they essentially take it up a notch. Celebrities, they do the same thing. Like, I got to be more and more extra, like every single time. And yeah, being extra, that's what people want to watch, and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of how I see all the social media guys.
Right.
Where I'm like, look at what they're doing, like basically look at what they're doing, not what they're saying, pretty much.
It's actually like they're building their own character in the social media that they're writing themselves. And okay, camera is on. I'm getting into this character. I do the best, exaggerating reaction. This is what we're looking for as a human being. We look something who is not ordinary. Like, oh, look, he's crashing out. If you like to watch this. So, and when you meet them off camera, from my experience, completely different personality. Yep. And that's a good that they found their niche and they use it for their advantage and the way that they build their audience that way. Yeah. That's a really good idea too.
Yeah, that's how I see all the social media guys. Well, just celebrities in general. It's like, well, they're very different on camera, but you have to be. It's just because. So I remember when I was performing, there was I would think of people in different ways. So when I would perform in restaurants, we'd be this close, and I'm sitting there performing something for you guys. You guys are more likely to say something to me. You're more likely to be like, "Hey, show me your hands. Let me see your hand." Like you're more likely to do that when we're up close. But when I'm on a stage and we're in a big award banquet room, you will never do that. Like absolutely never. And it's just because the context is different, the setting is different, and the way I had to present on a big stage versus the way I'd present with just you guys would be in a different way. It's like more calm here. talkative and all that sort of stuff. Whereas on stage, I got to exaggerate more, and it's like you got to be more of a character on stage, and that's how I see social media as well. It's like you have to be that way, or you're just not gonna get attention, and and it's like it just won't happen. That's why, like, you see Mr. Beast, perfect example. He's probably the one guy I think that everyone should pay attention to when it comes to social media, because even if you're doing B2B, he's really good at damn near all of it because he's super obsessed. And it's like you look at how he creates the videos, but I wouldn't look at it from the perspective of let me just copy him, especially if you're doing B2B, because there's some things you don't need to do, like the fast paced editing and all that. It's just more of I would look at it from an obsessive standpoint. Like wow, this guy really obsessed over the first 2 seconds of the videos on Facebook, and he learned that just to figure out how to get a wider audience, and Zuckerberg didn't even know about that. Like that's what I would pay attention to.
Yeah. And the reality is when we talk about the individual influencers and stuff like that, is not everyone's gonna like you,
Yeah.
and you gotta like the second you turn on the camera, the first video you gotta understand that like not everyone's gonna like you, and I think that's a character development that you can use outside like the camera.
Yeah.
Like walk just in public, like not everyone's gonna like you, and that's okay, and you gotta live with that fact.
Yeah. And it was funny. I actually also think that's a younger thing as well. Like the younger you are, the more you pay attention to what other people think of you, and then the older you are, the less you just don't care. You're like, I literally don't care. You ain't putting any money in my pocket. I simply do not care.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens.
Because we realize, life is more than other people's opinions.
Yeah. And that's also like when they say when you get money and then people they become an asshole, and it's like no, it's just they don't care about your opinions anymore. Like they don't need to care about your opinion because your opinion doesn't put any money in their pocket. And that's just what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw a video that like there's a guy that did a social experiment one time, and he went out into one of the most busiest like tourist areas in the world, and he just laid down on the floor and just started talking up to the gods, and nobody, everyone walked past them, and the whole idea was to show that people are so fed up with their own lives, so busy with their problems that they might look at you and for a second, for like 5 seconds, be like, what is this idiot doing?
Yeah.
But besides that, they go on with their life and they never think about you ever again.
Yeah.
And until you get to that certain point where like you're on their mind 24/7, it's for a good reason. You're probably doing something right. And I've heard the saying that you'll never meet someone hating or disliking you that's doing better than you.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to say one more thing. The people doesn't care what you do, but don't forget there's the haters one. And those haters ones, as I said at the beginning, those the ones that look from the side, and inside of them they are dying to have the same courage as you to do what you do. Right. Those hates come from them not able to do what you do. Okay, other people they have a lot of things dealing with their life. No, but always there's someone that's gonna give you the negative comments on this. For me, it just boosts me. Like, okay, I get it. I'll do more. I'll spread myself more out, more out. Because eventually, those people are around that they, they have fun of saying bad things and this, but you got them to see it in a different way, that not taking it too personally. Those people have their crash out that they can not become who you are. As you said, those haters can never be better than you.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like if you want to think in terms of, let's say, the haters, then you think of it as turning anger into ambition. And
Wow.
and
Yeah.
even so, one of the reasons why I keep saying like study people like biographies is when you look at someone like Kobe Jordan, you hear stories of how crazy they are and how delusional they are
Yeah.
with certain stuff about haters, all that sort of stuff. Like a recent story I heard with Kobe is when they were at the Olympics. One of the guys, he was like, "Yeah, we're on the team," and so I'm sitting there with Kobe, and he's like, and they all just get there, and he's like, all the athletes are kind of just hanging out, just talking, and then he says, Kobe, on the other hand, he's like getting pissed off. He's like getting pissed off, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And Kobe's like, "Man, all these effing athletes here, man. I just want to destroy everybody. This effing athlete," and like he's getting visibly mad, and it's like he's creating this story in his head, And I've seen like super successful people, they go above just, oh, haters talking about me. They create the hate in their head that doesn't even exist. And they use that as fuel for the next thing. Jordan did that as well. Jordan did it with something where it's like one of the players, there's a story about one of the players said something I don't know, like uh, 45 isn't the 23, isn't the 23 or something. But basically, it was like this story that was going around. This was going around for decades, and then he only recently confirmed it that he just made the thing up. He was like, I made it up to motivate myself.
Wow.
And I was like, damn. I was like, this dude's crazy. Like, he's just making stuff up. Just get mad at some random dude who didn't say anything to him, but he made it up in his head to motivate him to play better. And I was like, damn, he takes hate to a whole new level.
Damn.
Like, damn. But yeah, it's stuff like that. Like when you read these biographies, you're like, okay, I'm gonna use this too. And so it's like someone talks about you, I'm gonna use it as fuel, and then boom, or I'm gonna take it to the next level, type of thing. So you can think of it as something like that too.
Right. That's what as I said, that's what I do, you know. It's hard to ignore those background noises, you know, who we're human beings, right? We have emotions and we don't like our natures, we don't like to be judged or you're always afraid of what others people think. If we have to control our emotion about that. But the way we have to flip the table and look at it in a different aspect, okay, those ears, how can I make them something positive into my life? Use them as a fuel. Keep seeing another bad comment. Okay, I'm gonna make a better than video to make them mad and to make myself grow more. That's a strategy that I do. You know, I get fuel from those background noises. That oh, you look so dumb on social media. What are you doing? This is not a good strategy, and this is what I'm facing right now. You know, people in this industry, they're trying to show me, oh, they have more experience than me, and I'm doing the wrong way, and this is not a good strategy. And this try to not believe in myself and not believe in my strategy. But again, I flip the table. I see it as a motivation, as a fuel, and I see the positive in that, and I keep push.
Yeah, yeah, and like the way so I think of it almost in terms of like I said to do kind of what Kobe and Jordan would do, because so I remember when I was performing and I got all butt hurt by the people who would say no to me. Like I'd be like, oh, you guys want to hire me? And I remember this one. It's a very well known company. If I were to say it, everyone would know what it is. But what happened was back in the day, they were gonna hire me, and last second they decided to go with someone else because he was cheaper. And in my head, I was like, "Oh, these mofos." And so eventually, what I learned was, oh, they didn't like him. He wasn't that good. But in my head, when it happened, I was like, okay, next time, like I'm gonna increase my rates like crazy. Like I'm gonna get so good. I'm gonna contact so many people. I'm gonna be so booked that by the time you guys hit me up next time, the rates are gonna be insane. And that's exactly what happened. Like, at the time, it was like I said like $500 for the show, and they were like, "Oh no, someone offered it cheaper." It's like, you know what? By the time they hit me up, it was $20,000 for a show,
Wow.
and so in my head, I was like, "Yeah, I'm up." Like I was like, "Yeah, this was like years go by, but it was the same company that hit me up, and like it was nothing personal on their end. It was just, oh, we're going with this cheaper guy, but I made it personal in my head, and it's like I think what some people also have to be careful of is confusing a hater with someone who's actually right. Um, so, and I see this with when I look in the science world, because how I started studying biochem and all that after I got diagnosed with MS. And I would see people talk about stuff with MS and eating and all this sort of stuff. And I would think like you're just wrong. Like they would say something in my head, I'm like, you're just wrong. That's like someone saying the earth is flat. And I'm like, you're wrong. And then they say, no, you're being a hater. I'm like, no, no, you're wrong. And and I think a lot of people have to be careful of that, to where you might confuse someone as being a hater, but they might just be right. And if you look at someone like Bill Gates was really, really good at this. Like he's still really good at it. Where he will 100% say this is right. Like this is what I'm focused on. This is 100% right. Someone to say something, and then he'll be like, okay, yeah, you're right, and then boom, he'll flip instantly. And in the world of politics, that's a really bad thing to do. Like, oh, this dude's wishy-washy. But in the world of business, it's a really smart thing to do. To be like, I'm 100% certain this is how it is, and then all of a sudden someone says something, shows you something, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Boom, you flip. And I think that's a lot harder to do because now you got to get your ego out the way and all that. And that's why I said the acumen, the business acumen is number one. Because when you know, like, okay, here's the right thing to do, then boom, you'll do that. So that's why I tell people, like, you got to be careful with the hater stuff because to an extent they might be right and you don't know, and you just can't let your ego get in the way of it. But I'm all for taking things personal when it wasn't even there to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're like using it as fuel,
yeah, yeah.
and you could hear that something like a story like that from almost a lot of people. But what people would say is, they hear something like that and they quit. And so, why did you keep going? Like, why did you use it as fuel when other people would use it as something to give up and quit? Where does that process in your head?
Well, I think for me, I think it was just because I didn't have a plan B. Like I didn't have a job to go back to, so it was either do this or get a job. I was like, I don't want a job, so so I think that's what it was for me. It was just like it didn't matter what people said, didn't matter what happened. It was just I just got to keep doing this thing. I was just focused on this one thing, and that was it. So I think that's what it was for me. And I think when people quit, I think it's just because they have the thing to fall back onto. Um, and it's like there's no consequences. Like nothing's at stake. So because nothing's at stake of you quitting or succeeding, then it doesn't matter. And it's like I said earlier, if someone were to kidnap your family and they say, hey, you have to sell X amount of houses by the end of the year as a realtor, I'm going to kill your family, then now something's at stake. And it doesn't matter what happens. Like, it doesn't matter if you get sick. It doesn't matter if there's haters. It doesn't matter if you don't feel like it. Like, none of that matters. You're just going to be like, well, let me do this thing. And because something's at stake for you. And, and it's like, for me, what was at stake is, well, I had no plan B. So I was like, now I got to get a job if I don't make this work. So, boom. And that's what it was for me. Um, I think people quit because I don't think people are delusional enough. Uh, they're they're too practical in a sense of they're uncertain. Like there isn't enough certainty. It's like, well, how do I know if I create these videos going to build an audience and it's going how do I know like they can't see the end result
Yeah.
in their head and then they just stop. It's like, well, I'll make a video. Well, it didn't work, so all right, I'm done.
Like it's going down to manage expectation. We've okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get a million views, whatever. As a human being, we like to always, oh, if I do this, that's what's gonna happen. No, you do this because it's part of the process. It's part of it. No expectation. The way me and Levine start doing our business in the real estate world, it's we're not having any expectation. We just need to do what we need to do.
Yeah.
Right? We have to keep consistent, and if something good came out of it, great. It's a reward for us. If no, great. It's still great. We learn from them. We know what not to do, and we know what to do next. So manage your expectation in your head. Don't expect too much. Okay, just do what you need to do. Stay the consistent. Keep do what you think, from step to step, you learn what's work and what doesn't.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to the idea of like have your expectations, but also have your goals and have your delusional goals. And that goes back to our idea that we always talk about on the podcast is either you have to manifest it and it's like the law of attraction, You have to set your goals so far up. And Sean's saying about the moon, go ahead.
You always reach the moon. You may gonna land on the stars.
Yeah.
Always reach high.
So it's kind of idea is like, yeah, you don't expect anything, but have your goals at the same time and be a delusion about it because you may never know where you end up, right? If you aim so far up and still land at like the top of a mountain, you still got to the top of the mountain, which no one else would get to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of the idea that we try to preach. It's that always say or believe in your head that you can do it. Don't expect it, but say it and believe it, and you can get to your ideas and goals.
Yeah, yeah, and I think more like here's the thing that I want. Like that's basically what I'm thinking. It's like here's what I want to do. Like when I started, when I was just doing the magic and stuff, the thing I wanted to do was get on stages. I'm like, I need to get hired. So how I reverse engineered the whole thing is like, well, to get hired, I have to do cold emails. And then I thought to myself, if I cold email all day, every day for a whole year straight, what's going to happen? Somebody's got to hire me. So that's all I did. Just cold email all day, every day. It was just, here's the one thing I want, and then that's it. And it's like you just obsess about it. And from that obsession, everything else just naturally falls into place.
100%. I mean, do you still think like emailing, cold emailing, and this stuff works? Because we have some viewers that watch the channel that do info, that sell info and stuff, and they do coaching and they create coaching plans for people. And do you think cold emailing still works? Because some people text me and
Well,
they
I
message
don't
me.
think I know. Like that's what our agency does. Is
Wow.
cold
Yeah.
emailing. Like it's just like, all of it works. Cold email, cold calling, ads, all that stuff. It all works. It's just a matter of can you make it work. And it's like when I started, I heard cold calling is dead, cold email is dead. I've heard that since the beginning of time. Like since before Facebook was even Facebook, when MySpace was around,
Wow.
people were still saying cold email is dead. I'm like, yo, I just made a gang load of money. I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah.
you suck at it. That's why it's dead for you.
Or they
But
quit early.
yeah, and it's like what I've noticed. People just do it wrong, and it's like they're doing it wrong, or they shouldn't be doing that thing. And this is what I was saying, where the acumen is number one, because cold emailing works, but do you need to be doing it for what you're selling? So if I'm selling, let's say, an info product, I'm teaching public speaking or whatever, an info product, I don't need to be doing cold emailing. What I need to be doing is creating content and spending a lot of money on ads. If there was one thing, it would be ads, not even content. It's just strictly ads. Uh, and and so it's one of those where if I'm doing cold email, if I'm selling a public speaking course and I'm cold emailing people and nobody's buying, I'm gonna say, well, cold emailing doesn't work. And it's like, no, you're just doing the wrong thing. That's it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, even if you're doing the right thing, like how we cold email for these biotech companies and different like startups and stuff, you have to say the right thing. So if I'm sure you guys have gotten emails and Instagram DMs, and especially
Yeah.
Instagram DMs where they're like, "Hello, sir, I can grow your Instagram following," and you don't even need to read it. You just glance. You're like, "This spam ass
Yeah.
crap,"
Yeah.
and it's like, but if they're more specific, if they're like, "Hey guys, I just saw you had, you just did the podcast, and it's like I saw that guy Benji was on there. I've seen Benji perform before. He once bent this quarter." And immediately you know, okay, this person watched the podcast, and you'd read the rest of what they're writing. And so sending a cold email like that is better. Um, it all works. It's just, are you doing the right thing to make it work, and are you doing the right thing to begin with? Like I would never cold email as a realtor. I would cold call as a realtor. Even with ads as a realtor, I would never do like Facebook ads. I would do Google ads as a realtor. So it's like you have to make the right decision first.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of it. But,
No, it makes sense.
you
I
Right.
think you need to have a plan, but you also need to step into it quickly.
yeah.
I think ads are a great thing in terms of all platforms. How do you feel about like the coaching space? Because there's a lot of people today that are doing coaching, on social media, from all across the world, trading or public speaking or confidence building. All these things. Do you think maybe investing your time, money, effort into like a coaching that it fits in your niche would be something worth?
Well, yeah, because coaching it condenses time. So it's like if you don't have a coach, then you now got to learn everything yourself. But if you have a coach, you can now you know like what to focus on. So if all of a sudden I'm teaching someone like, all right, here's I don't know, here's how to do cold emailing for as a public speaker. You want to get on stages. Here's exactly what you need to do. And they may focus on I'm going to write a book, and I would say no, don't do that. Like don't focus on that. Focus on cold email. And that's how you get on stages. So what coaching does, it condenses the time to the end result. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, I don't want to pay for coaching, all these guys are scams and all that. Most of them, they just make their money teaching, and they actually haven't done it. So they made their money. They read a couple books. They're like, oh, now I'm gonna create content around this thing, and that's how most of them do it. And it's hard to distinguish between the guys who've actually done it versus guys who are
Right.
good at talking about it, because they look very similar.
Yeah.
But the way you can tell the difference is the level of details that they can get into. And a lot of people, when I was teaching public speaking stuff, they were like, "I've never heard this before," and all this. I'm sitting there like, "You've never heard of a CRM before?" And they're like, "Yeah," and like no one's ever talked about it in the space. I'm like, "These other speaker trainers haven't talked about a CRM," and it's like that doesn't make any sense. And it's like a basic business thing, and I'm sitting here going into insane detail. I'm like, here's the exact word you use. When you say this, here's the three replies that's going to happen, because it's the only three replies that can happen. When they say this, you say this. When they say this, you say this. And then you do this to your lead score, and that's how you can kind of tell the difference in terms of what coach to go with. But if you don't have a coach, then what's going to happen? You're just going to be all over the place. You won't know what to look for. None of that. Um, when I got diagnosed with MS, first thing I did, I called up a friend. He was actually a college roommate, high school valedictorian, has a PhD in biochem. His current job is like curing blindness. Like they're gonna
Wow.
basically create an eye from scratch. So I'm like, well, I know he has a biochem thing. Boom, I called him up. I was like, yo, I got MS. Tell me what I should focus on. And then boom, he's like, focus on these things. And that's what I did. Versus if I didn't know that, if I didn't have a coach, I would just read all kinds of stuff. I wouldn't know what to focus on. And that's really what a coach is doing. Just telling you here, focus on these things. And a coach should help you think for yourself, because that's where all your money is going to be made, when you like know how to think for yourself, instead of just the coach saying, here, do this thing step by step. But yeah, I mean, the coaching space is interesting. I'm
It
not,
definitely is.
yeah, I'm not one of those where I'm like, oh, no, ignore everybody and all that. It's just more of, you just got to know who to pay attention to, and the only way you're going to know that is by you knowing stuff. So that's why I say read books. And like when I hear someone talk about cold emailing, I can immediately pick up whether or not they know their stuff. And I'm like, well, because I know cold emailing. And it's like if there's a coder, or let's say cybersecurity expert, and then let's say for an interview, I sit down for an interview for cybersecurity, they start asking me questions. I'm like, oh, well, as long as your password is good, you're good to go. They're gonna sit there and be like, this mother effing BS are here, and it's just because they know more about it than me, and that's how you want to think with coaches. Like, study more to where when you hear about them, you'll know more than they do, or if you don't know more, that's how you know which one to go with.
Yeah.
It adds more to your plate.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like the mentor situation we talked about, me and Sean, on the other podcast. Is like, you want to have a mentor, you want to have a coach. These people guide you in life. But like Sean added, you he kind of lets you think freely. He gave you the guide, but he lets you think freely.
You know, they did like make you feel like, okay, make your own decision. I'm just giving you an option. That's what worked for me. You know, something else might work for you, but this is you can pick from the plates. How did they?
And the only time I will say a coach should really step in is when it's just completely wrong. So where
Yeah.
it's like I say, well, here's the thing. I mean, with the earth, I mean, it can be flat or it can be round, and if you're saying that to me, I'll be like, no, no, it's round. Like there is no if flat. It's no, no, it is round. Go along that route. And so that's basically what a coach should be doing.
Right.
Well, we got a lot of knowledge, I have to say. Um, especially experience. I appreciate the position you share with us. Help us really a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you gave some sauce to the people. I mean, well, again, like what we like to do is give people an actionable plan that they can stick on, and which you did. And if social media is something that people want to do, you guys heard it here. You got to get into it. You got to jump straight into it. Do your research, find what you want to do, and step into this space. There's definitely an audience waiting, but you just have to tap into it, find it, and figure out what they want, you know?
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, kind of wrapping up here basically, but this was a really good episode. It's probably our best one for sure. we're super grateful for you coming on
Thank
and
you.
very
Thanks for having
thankful.
me.
You definitely inspire the people, and we hope maybe we get a couple messages saying, you know what, I changed this habit, or I started this because I saw what Benji said, and that's the goal, you know. We want to inspire people and give them their first step to finding something purposeful in life.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you for
My name was
watching.
Noveen
Sean,
and Benji.
Benji.
Thank
you
you
for
guys
coming.
so much. And where can they find you out if they want to follow you on anywhere?
Probably Instagram would be best. Just Benji.Bruce.
Sweet. All right, definitely go follow him. There's a lot of good content on your page as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we appreciate everyone again, and thank you guys so much for watching.